Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People. How are you guys doing? And first, before I get into the show, I owe you guys an apology. I didn't do a good enough job letting you guys know that we're going to have guests all last week so that you would be prepared for it. That is my apologies. I was just so focused on making sure that we had content and you guys didn't miss a beat. But nevertheless, big shout-outs and thank you very much to Ashley Stroline and Chancellor Johnson for standing in for Charlotte Vibe last week to continue our coverage and not miss a beat. I hope you guys appreciate it. Hey, big milestone. Round of applause for everybody. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We are now over – yeah, you hear that? We are now over 13,000 subscribers. We're making our way towards 20,000. But the next one we're going to push for is 15,000. So please, if you're watching and if you haven't subscribed, you enjoyed the content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're independent media, 100% supported by you guys. There is no other person that you're going to find on YouTube that immediately after the show, I'm going to step to the side. It's on the field, broadcasting live, giving you a recap, taking your questions. So I hope that you guys enjoy that. We're going to go ahead and get into it. Let me go ahead and give a shout out to Sal Moore, as well as Deshaun J. So, yes, the Carolina Panthers are now, unfortunately, 0-2 this preseason as they just fell to the Houston Texans. Final score in this game, Houston Texans 20, Carolina Panthers 3, which is an improvement, right? That's an improvement from last week when we played the Cleveland Browns. Final score in that game was 30-10, so that was a 20-point loss. I'm just entertaining you guys with this, right? But really, we're going to have more videos. We're going to dive deeper into this. This is preseason, right? So preseason is a lot different from the regular season. These coaches are looking for different things, and they're trying to evaluate different things. So we're going to touch on a little bit of that today with this post-game recap. I'm going to take a few of your questions. But here's today's show. We're going to have game photos from the best photographer in the biz. Patrick Snyder always does a great job of giving us photos from the game. We're going to go over the injuries from today. We're going to touch on the stats from today, and then we're going to go and give a little recap from today's game, all right? So let me go ahead and first tell you who did not play today, because we had a lot of guys that didn't play for various reasons. So I'm going to go ahead and share that with you first on the guys that did not play today. I'm going to put it on the screen so you guys can follow along. We had J.C. Horn, Nick Scorton, Jalen Coker, Tyler Marbury, DJ Johnson, Claudin Sherrillis, Cam Jackson, Chandler Zavala, Damian Lewis, and LeBron Ray. Those were your guys that did not play today. Again, I'll leave that on the screen there for a moment for you guys to take a look and see. But these were your guys that did not play today in this Houston versus Carolina Panthers matchup. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this game. Just in brief, I'm going to play a clip shortly here from head coach Dave Canales. It was a little disappointing. You know, it was a little bit of but it is just the second game of the preseason. We got one more game. Unfortunately, Dave Canales said that none of the starters will play. You kind of figured that, right? Today's Saturday, last game of the season. Is always a short turnaround where it's going to be this Thursday in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium as they will take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'm going to see if I can cue up this clip from Dave that I'm going to share with you guys. Let's see. Give me just a second. See if I can cue this up. This is going to be Dave Canales' opening remarks, which I think is always, the best way to sum up the evaluation of the game. But here it is, Dave Canales giving his post-game intro about today's matchup versus the Houston Texans.
All right. A lot of good work out there. To me, I think to kind of sum it up, it was a day of almost. So I just kind of challenged the group. I was like, are we going to be almost good? Or are we going to make the plays when they're there to be made? 1 for 10 on third down. JT Sanders misses a ball. Bryce, hit him right in stride on. We got a double move. T-Mac's probably going to score a touchdown. We didn't block Daniil Hunter on the right. Hit Andy in the elbow. Speaking of which, took him out. Looks like an elbow sprain. We'll image it tomorrow, so I won't really have the details of all that. He was moving it around fine. He said he feels fine, but we got to take a look and see what happens there. And then Jack Plummer, 2 interceptions, on third down. So that makes it a really difficult day. Gave them 7 points down there where we threw that 1 interception, and all in all, just kind of looking excited about our group.
Just a second, just a second. Give me just a second, guys. All right. I'm having some preseason things going on myself over here. But, all right, so I wanted to play that clip. Dave Canales talking about this game. It just was, had some things to be desired, as he already touched on there. So, again, the final score in this one, Houston Texans 20 and Carolina Panthers 3. So what we're going to do now is my favorite part of the show, where I go and share with you guys some images from the game. So I always like to let people know, hey, we tell the story of the game. So if you see, hey, why is that picture like that? Why do you have the Texans? Well, that's what happened, and that's what we want to do here at Charlotte Vibe, is just give you a true indication of what happened for today, let you feel good or bad, indifferent, however you may want to feel. But our job is to bring you the real story. And then, depending on how much time we take here today, I'm going to go ahead and take some questions here. Again, live from the field here at NRG Stadium here in Houston, Texas. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these photographs that we were able to get from today. Bryce Young looking up at the scoreboard. Nice little artistic photograph there. Here was our punter getting knocked down as he is trying to kick the ball off today. Fortunately, was not hurt or injured on that play. Trevor Etienne, we're going to take a look at his stats here in just a second. Got some several attempts today in running the ball. And then some tackles that we had to make there. Jack Plummer, who ended up playing quite a bit today due to, I think Andy only got in one series before he had to go out with that elbow injury. You heard there Coach Dave Canales talking about they're going to have some further imaging done for Andy to see how severely he may be hurt or not hurt there. Here we go, Jack at the line, calling some plays, making some adjustments. Again, nice photograph here. Trevor Etienne with a run. Houston Texans diving after him to make that tackle. And then our guy, Hunter man, why do I always stumble to get his name? But Hunter Renfrow on this play, making the catch. Hunter actually played a bit into the third quarter. I think the coach was definitely trying to get him some reps, trying to see exactly where he is coming from that 1 year hiatus and playing. And was that it? I feel like I skipped some photographs there. Yeah, I knew we had some more photographs. Hold on a second, guys. All right, let's continue to go through some of these photographs here. Here we go. And this happened quite a bit today. Bryce Young here is actually under pressure, trying to get a ball out. This was the one he was trying to get out to Tedorora, and it was actually intercepted. But fortunately, it was a defensive penalty on this, so that didn't count. And I think he was probably just trying to get it out, knowing that he had an opportunity. And this is our guy, Andy Dalton. Again, he did not get a chance to have too many reps today, but we were able to catch a photograph of him prior to that injury with Andy Dalton there at the line calling his plays. And then this is one of the Texans' TD celebrations, as they did score more than the Carolina Panthers did today. Again, our photographs tell the story from today. It's what we do. Bryce Young only played 2 series. Again, we're going to take a look at his stats here in just a second. But Bryce Young watching his team on here at NRG Stadium in Texas. And Bryce under pressure, which was something that happened several times during his short stint out there today. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And always a great moment to see these guys with a prayer before the game. Obviously, Bryce is in the front there, but you see several other players around him doing that as well today pregame. I think we already saw that photograph. And there's Chuba watching on. So those are some of the great photographs that you'll see. If you like the photographs, please head on over to Instagram. Starting tomorrow, we'll post a lot more of our game photos. And again, I think we have the best photographer in the business, Patrick Snyder, bringing those photographs to you guys. So consider giving us a follow over there on YouTube if you haven't already done so. So injury-wise, was not much that happened today. The biggest one being to our backup quarterback, Andy Dalton. Again, he's going to have some further x-rays done on, I don't think it was x-rays, I forget exactly the word that he used there, but so correction for me. But they're going to look into that further to see exactly what ailments Andy has to that elbow. We had one other injury today. Guard Ja'Tyre Carter had walked off the field. Was assisted off the field by several trainers. He was out for a little while, but then he did return to the game, so that is good news to hear for Ja'Tyre Carter. So those were our injury roundups from today. So let's go ahead and take a look at these stats. Stats tell the story a lot of times, right? Let's go ahead and start with our quarterback. So Bryce Young, 0 for 2, 0 yards. Wow. I'll be honest with you guys, I did not realize that prior to looking at this that it was going to be 0 yards. I knew he didn't do much at all. 0 completions, 0 yards. Yeah, he did say Imogen. Thanks, Vincent. Andy Dalton, 2 completions out of 4 for 22 yards. Jack Plummer, 10 out of 14. And 83 yards. So you see the passer ratings over there were pretty poor. Let's go to our rush. Trevor Etienne led all rushers with 7 carries. Only had 18 yards, so he was, had only a 2.6 yard average. Really wasn't able to get anything going anywhere all around this game today. So I'll let you guys digest those. Karan Lynch-Adams, 5 carries for 27 yards. Most of that came on the 1 carry that he had for 16. Chuba didn't have much of a chance at all. Let's go ahead and look at the receiving stats. Now, this is something interesting here. Now, we all have known that this wide receiver room is a crowded room, which is a great thing with a lot of competition. Hunter Renfrow, Jalen Coker, and a bunch of others, David Moore, etc. But Bryson Tremaine has been doing some good things. He's had several good practices in different weeks, so it didn't have just like one good practice and then fall off the earth. He's had a really good camp. So we'll continue to see what happens here, but let's look at Bryson Tremaine's 3 receptions, led all receivers with 46 yards, 3 catches on 4 targets. David Moore, 3 catches on 3 targets for 26 yards. Those 2 were your leading receivers. But just also want to see here, Hunter Renfrow, 2 for 7. But overall, just 12 total receptions, just over 105 yards. And then we're going to take a look at the defensive stats. Damani Richardson leading with 6 tackles. Jacoby Windham, Bam, following up there. And we did have 1 sack from Christian Roseboom, who has been playing in the place of Josie Jewell, who is no longer with the Carolina Panthers. So those are your stats from today. And we're going to go ahead and see. I just have to glance over here at the comments. And doesn't seem like you guys are too happy. I see the comments. I like the comments. We're going to get into them. All right, so let me just go ahead and break down some things from my standpoint. Again, these post-game shows live from the field, I can't go into a deep dive yet because I haven't had the time to really review things in detail. But I'd like to give you guys my quick recap and then have a little Q&A. And, again, if you have not subscribed, you enjoy the content, you enjoy the live from the field media interaction, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hit the like button if you have already subscribed. The bigger we grow, the more I can do with having player and coaches on the show and my access to the team. So I really appreciate it if you do that. Super chats are also welcome and needed. So let's first break down this offense, which only had 2 series. And you might say, Well, why didn't they have 3? Bryce Young had 0 completions. Bryce Young had 0 yards. That's pretty bad. Do you not want them to go out on a good note? Well, Dave Canales was asked about that, and his response was, well, didn't really feel a need to put him out there again, also considering that they just had the joint practice the other day with the Houston Texans, and we got in some good work there. I'm not mad at that, right? Last year he didn't play these guys at all. This year he's making a change, and he's having them play 2 series. His target point has been about having 10 reps per week, right? So he kind of got that. He only got 6 today, so it's a little low. But, he's confident in his team, right? He knows there's things that he needs to work on. He knows he doesn't have to do it out here on this field. And want to get some looks from some other guys, right? It's not extremely important that he only has looks at the starters. He needs to have some looks at the rest of this. They're a development-oriented franchise, right? So, this is what I did notice during that time. The Texans, when they could get Carolina into, I don't even want to say a 3rd and long. It's like 3rd and mid long. Basically 3rd and 5. They really seem to have their number. And so if you were at practice the other day, Wednesday here in Texas, and then you saw the game today, it's like, well, it is preseason. They got our number. We need to work on it. Let's just continue to let other guys play. But the Texans certainly had the Carolina Panthers number and getting them to a 3rd and 5. And once they got them into that 3rd and 5, the Carolina totally didn't have an answer with the pressure, with the coverage, and it just wasn't a good look. Additionally, their 3rd downs, they had a 3rd and 8, which they couldn't convert, and then they had a 3rd and 6. So it was 2 3 and outs for the starting offense. Just not a good look there. Let's go over to the defensive side. So what we were able to see today, which we haven't seen since New Orleans, game 1 of last year, was number 95, Derrick Brown, being back out there. So Derrick Brown was extremely limited today. Derrick Brown had 3 reps with the starters, looked good, looked fine. Didn't go out for the second series with the team. Had immediately taken off his knee brace, taken off his hat, and was able to watch the rest of the game from the sidelines. But Derrick Brown did get some action today, very limited, as they continue to just try to get him ramped up back into it. The 2 series that the defense was out there, it was okay. Bobby Brown had a batted ball just behind me here inside the red zone on 3rd down. So you would think probably if it was a regular season game and they batted the ball down as 4th and 5, they're going to come out and kick the field goal. But they didn't do that. It's preseason. You still want to get your guys every rep you can. And so they did get another rep, and they did score. And so technically, between the starters on both sides, the Texans was better on the scoreboard in that part, having scored 7, and the Panthers scored 0. But C.J. Stroud didn't play very long as well. And, something that I kind of noticed, and I don't know if this was just, you really only had 2 series to really look at it, but it seemed to me that Shamar Bartholomew, who was in for J.C. Horn, was getting picked on a little bit. You guys see that at all? Have that opinion at all about Shamar Bartholomew getting picked on a little bit? I did. I think they did pick on him a little bit, and, they were successful in doing so. One more battle I want to talk about, then I'm going to get into any questions that you guys have in the comments before I get out of here. Saw a super chat just come through, so I'm going to get to that in just a second. The kicking battle. We do have a kicking battle. Give me just a second to take a drink of water here, my tradition on the show. All right, we do have a kicking battle. Ryan Fitzgerald and Matthew Wright. Fitzgerald's the rookie. Wright is the veteran. Which one are we going to have? So, as expected, Coach said before training camp really got deep that he was probably going to keep these guys as long as possible to see which one prevailed. And I said earlier, I don't think he's going to cut anybody unless there's some severe injuries to some side where you have to make a decision earlier. But, now many years ago, the NFL made a change to where there's only 1 cut down. There's not 2 cut downs like there used to be. So there's really not a big incentive for him to make a decision on his kickers early. But so far, between Matthew Wright and Ryan Fitzgerald. Today, Wright missed his 55-yard field goal attempt. Now, he didn't miss it wide left or wide right, I don't think. My angle's on the sideline, so I couldn't see it, but it looked like a pretty competitive kick. But neither one of these kickers seemed to have a huge leg, right? Both of them seem to have about that 50-ish, 52-ish, 53-yard maximum range. So you're just looking for accuracy from these guys and also which one has the best versatility in your kickoffs. But on their field goal attempts, Wright missed his 55-yarder, and then the rookie Ryan Fitzgerald made his 52-yarder. And so he's actually been perfect in the preseason. Wright did not have a chance to kick last week, so Fitzgerald made his kick today. Fitzgerald made his kick last week. So technically, Wright is ahead in the field goal kicking department. And that will really sum up today's coverage and the recap that I had from you guys. Let me go ahead and go back to this right here. And we got to hit our super chat. Always appreciate it. Always need it. The Crew Clothing Brand. What's up, Chris? Carolina for life. Hey, thank you so much for that super chat again. Independent media, 100% supported by you guys. So anytime you have the ability to do so, that is greatly appreciated. So let me go ahead and take a look at our questions. Say more. Deshaun J. Red Man Boyd said, ask Dave what the hell he's doing. So to his credit, right, Dave did not seem like he was enthused about his team today. He did not come out there and say, hey, we're fine. Hey, we're good, on to Pittsburgh. No, he talked about the missed opportunities. He talked about things weren't good today. It's going to happen. And what you want to do is see how the team responds to it. But he talked about the fact that the third and longs were too much. He talked about the fact that there was a Jatavian Sanders dropped. He talked bad about, there's an opportunity to hit T-Mac, but the play didn't go right. Things weren't blocked properly, and Andy didn't get the ball off right. So I don't think that after one bad preseason game, we can say, hey, Dave, what the hell are you doing? But I do certainly get the context, right? It's been since 2015 that we had a great time in Carolina. It's been, I don't know, was it 6 seasons in a row now that we have not had a winning season? It's been a long time where you go through the preseason and things aren't good. And, typically people say it's just a preseason, but you want something to start building. So, Red Man, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Call Super Cam now. No, we're not going to do the Cam Newton stuff this early. We're not going to do that. Last season, I'm not sure what that full comment is there, Shelly Long. All right, let me bring up this comment. Hope they'll be ready week 1 versus Jacksonville. Seems like the team has a long way to go. So this again, I say we only had 2 series that we saw from the offense, right? And maybe you guys are going to call me Mr. Optimistic, but I've seen this team play every single day since OTAs and now through training camp. And I know that every single game is not going to be the greatest game. I know I've seen a lot of stuff from this coaching staff. I've seen a lot of great things from these players that I feel like there's still reason to be optimistic. And it's not like, oh, no, the wheels on the bus are coming off. And I know you guys in previous seasons when Matt Rule was here, like, oh, Chris, the wheels are coming off, which they did later on. But right now, I still think we're fine. There's things I want to see continue to improve. But it's like, how do these guys react? Unfortunately, we won't see them play this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what you will want to do is make sure you subscribe and watch how the practices go this week. They're probably only going to have 2 practices because today's Saturday. Obviously, you're not going to have anything tomorrow, Sunday. Game's Thursday. So really, potentially Monday and Tuesday will be the times to have some practice and make some further evaluations, we'll be there, continue to monitor things and report back to you guys so you can have a good feel for things. Because the game Thursday against the Steelers will not be the time to make further evaluations on this team as a whole, especially from the starter position. But run, appreciate your comment there, boss. Why can't we play in a game? We're becoming the Carolina practicers. Let's see. Please clean up your production of the show. Too many mistakes, too many breaks to fix. Technology and taking a drink of water. You have access, others can't. So got to do better. FFTV. Well, as you guys know, I am a transparent guy. I put all the comments up there. I don't shy away from it. So things to consider. If you want the productions to be absolutely perfect, no mistakes at all, then please continue to support independent media with your financial support so that we can have a staff that you will see that has tens of thousands of dollars to make everything run. But I am running this show as a one-man operation right now here live. There's a person right next to me that is doing a one-man show on television, but there's a crew of 3 people around him, and he has an earpiece to a broadcast unit back in Charlotte, feeding him things and creating his graphics. So if you want to be critical, that's fine. I just ask that you keep your criticism in context for what you're asking, and feel free to do that super chat. Give me $20,000 so I could do that. Otherwise, I will have to have a drink of water, as there's no one to help me get a drink of water while I'm setting up the equipment, running from a press box that's all the way up there, all the way down here to the field. But nevertheless, Fonz Films Productions, appreciate you watching the channel, and we will continue to try to strive to, even though we're operating as one person, appear as a $1 million production company. Yes, we do have access to the field, which is something that is unique, right? So you can ask me, official member of the media, any questions that you want, and I can answer it. And but access to the field does not mean we have millions of dollars to have a production team around us as we do what we do. But really, sincerely do appreciate you taking the time to watch and comment on the channel. Thoughts on Bryce going 0 for 2 and throwing an unofficial pick? Yeah, overall, it wasn't good for the entire team, right? It wasn't good for the blocking that the offensive line had on third downs. The Texans seemed to dial up blitzes and things to get pressure on Bryce where he had to get out the pocket quick. As you know, Bryce is pretty good for doing off-schedule things. And he was looking. He was running and had his head down the field, but there wasn't anything for him to get to. So Bryce's 0 for 2 was bad, but it was a collective bad. It was an offensive line bad. It was wide receivers couldn't get open on the plays bad. Maybe it was a coaching bad because they didn't call plays right to properly go against the defense that the Houston Texans were throwing at them. So, Stu, thoughts on Bryce going 0 for 2? Awful. But I feel like it was a complete awful thing for the entire team to assist him in going 0 for 2. Appreciate your question, Stu. The crew says folks need to relax. We're one Bryce Young injury away from the first pick next year. Praying it doesn't happen. Yeah. But in perspective, what NFL team isn't one injury away from being, not in a good position? Typically in the NFL, if your star quarterback, which is, the catalyst for your team, gets hurt, it's like, oh my, what are we going to do? So that's not a position that we want to be in, but it's also not a position that many teams across the NFL could be in. Good question here from Mommy Lions. What changes do you think need to be made? Right now, I'm not big on changes that need to be made. Right now, for me, the biggest thing I want to see is how does this team respond, right? Because, and I'm just going to talk on the offensive side. I'll touch on the defensive side a little bit as well. But on the offensive side, we've all been excited about all your entire offensive line is returning. The continuity that you get from that is unparalleled. It does not happen often in the NFL at all that you'll be able to have your entire offensive line return. So that's a good thing because our offensive line was pretty respectable last year. We got additions on our wide receivers with Tedero McMillan. We have Hunter Renfro. That's something good right there. So, for me, I just need to see the rebound to this, the adjustments to this. One huge thing that is not talked about enough in the preseason, there's no game planning against the Houston Texans specifically. We want to try to do this and see how it works. It's completely different from, okay, Jacksonville Jaguars week 1, we are game planning for every single person on their team, what their tendencies are, and how we could beat them exactly. That's not the same during the preseason. So I don't say that as a complete wash, but it's something to keep in mind. On the defensive side, we got a chance to see Derek Brown out there a little bit, but we didn't get to see Derek Brown out there for an entire game. We didn't get to see the impact that he could have as the game wears down. Somebody like Derek Brown could wear down the other side and put pressure on them. We didn't have J.C. Horn out there and a number of other players. So I'm not so anxious on things need to change. I'm anxious to see how guys continue to recover from their injuries and how guys rebound from this, and then how coaches game plan for week 1 in Jacksonville. Thank you, Mummy Lions. I'm going to try to take one more before I get out of here. This is the last one we're going to take. People have to remember Houston was a playoff team. We're just seeing how we measure up against a playoff team. You know what, Mark? That is also true. Houston has Pro Bowlers. Houston has all pros, a lot of them. We had a couple. We had some. But there's some banners right above me here. Houston 2018. Actually, let me just tell you, since Carolina in 2015 went to the Super Bowl, we've had no success. Houston 2016, 2018, 2019, 2023, and 2024 AFC South champions. They have those banners right above me. We don't have a banner hanging up since 2015. So it's still, again, some perspective. Not that you shouldn't be mad. Not that you shouldn't want better. But that's why I have the optimism that I have. Hey, everybody, so much. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you for tuning in. I hope that you'll continue to tune in as we continue to cover this team as they prepare for the 2025 season. Your questions, I'm always going to go live to answer your questions. Now, this week coming up, I may have some more people stand in for me to continue to make sure that we don't miss a beat. So that's my duty to you guys. Continue to subscribe. Continue to tell a friend. Your support is needed and appreciated. I'm going to head out of here so I can travel back to Charlotte and continue to keep you guys up to date. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I'm Chris Jenkins reporting live from NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas for Charlotte Vibe.